Okay, we're back. And we're almost finished with this, ladies. Just hang in there. So what I'm doing is sewing down the side of my bag. And remember how I told you to start up here where this seam is. And I got my needle right in there. Okay? And I'm just going to sew a 3/8 inch seam, which is flush with the right side of my presser foot. I'm going to back stitch. And I'm going to just go down, all the way down. And no, I did not pin mine. And I did not pin mine because this side of the bag is so easy, it just lays in place, you guys. It really does. Okay? Now, when you get here, you're going to pivot. Now, you may have a little bit hanging off of the bottom right here, but that's quite all right because we can just cut that as long as you're stitching straight. Okay? You're going to be okay. And all my stuff is lined up, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay? So this may be off a little bit, but you can always move it as well. So you put your presser foot down, and now you're going to go across the bottom. Okay? And you're going to pivot, meaning keep your needle into the fabric, turn it, okay? And then you're going to start up this side. And you're just going to come all the way up to where the seam is here. Okay? And that's right where the seam stops on the back stitch. I always say back space. I don't know why. Back stitch. Okay? And then you're going to cut this. And then you're going to come over to this other side. Okay. Now this is where you probably should pin because your lining does not have interfacing, right? But we're going to get right below that zipper, crunch it up in here. Okay. Put your presser foot down, make sure it's not inside the zipper. And you're going to just line your seam up here. This looks to be a little bit wider, the seam, but it's okay because it was cut out a little bit, and that's okay. I'll just go ahead and stick with the plan here. As long as I'm making a nice straight stitch, I'll be good. So I'm going to pivot again. Come down a little bit more. Okay, turn my wheel. I'm going to pivot again. And now this is the side we're keeping the 5-inch opening. Okay? So we're going to put this down. And we're going to go maybe to there, back stitch. What I like to do is just lift my presser foot and drag it over here about 5 inches. That seems to be about 5 inches. Okay? And then I'm going to finish sewing. Now what happened here is you got this piece of thread for where you left that opening. I just simply clip it on both sides. Okay? Then I continue. Then I'm going to pivot again. Just the lining of the back, so that other side where it was a little, the seam was a little bit larger, it's okay because this is going to be tucked into the inside of your tote bag. So no big mistake. But I come back up on this end, and right where that zipper stop is, right across here, is where you're gonna stop. You don't want to go through the teeth. And you back stitch, and that's it. Now, this next part is going to take a little work. All right? But that's fine. What you're going to do is you're going to open up that 5-inch seam. It's about 5. Let's see. Yep. Just a little shy under 5, but it's about 5. It was enough to stick my hand in. So you make sure your hole is enough to stick your hand in as well. And remember when we opened up that zipper, we opened it up so that we can stick our hand through the top part here, okay? But before we do that, ladies, well, yeah. Before we do that, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a step. Before we do that, if you want to sew your corners, that's what we're going to do. So you're going to stick your hand through here so we can make some little slanted corners so that your bag can sit flush, okay? So what you do is you go down here and you open up this part. I stuck my hand in there, I bring it out, and I pull it so that the seam here and the seam here in the back kind of matches, okay? Now you can measure this if you want to, up about 2.5 inches. I'm not gonna measure, I'm gonna eyeball it. But for those of you that just need to see it, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll mark it, approximately 2 inches, okay? So, 1, 2. So my 2 inches will be about right here. Okay. So let me show you. That's what I did. I marked a straight line across that. Remember, seam to seam diagonal. And I'm just going to run that stitch across there. And I can literally fill my seams together. You just gotta have that feeling. Gotta have that feeling. Okay, so I'm going to sew this straight line across here diagonal. Making sure to back stitch at beginning and end. And then you're going to cut. I'm just grabbing the nearest scissors here. And you're going to just cut this. Cut this off. I did it with my pinking shears, okay? So that's cut off. It's like a corner now. It's cut off. That's trash. Then you're going to stick your hand back in and you're going to do the other bottom corner of the front of your tote. I'm sticking my hand in and I'm pointing this like so. Okay? So it looks like you have a triangle. And I'm making sure this seam and this seam is as close together as possible. I'm going to measure down about 2 inches, 1, 2. I'm going to take my little marker, which is about 2 inches, and I'm just going to draw across there, like so. And then I'm going to sew these 2 inches down and across. And once again, I'm going to cut that off. Okay, so that kind of give me a little square-like bottom. Now, what we need to do, people, is pull the front of this tote through the lining. And that's going to take a little work, but it can be done. So I'm sticking my hand back into the bottom of the lining. I'm finding where I opened up my zipper. My hand is now in the front of the tote. I'm going to grab it from one of the corners and I'm pulling it through. Pull it through. You see, that's the front coming out. Okay? And you got to work with it a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to go out of view for a second because I need to really manipulate this and get this through here. Your hole should be big enough. Okay. So now I pull the front through the lining. Right? Now you can poke your corners. Okay. And you can come down here and get these corners in. And actually you could have sewed across the corners of these as well, so that they're just not straight, but they will lay in there. And now what you want to do is just sew up your hole that you had here. Now remember, before you turn that lining inside out, like I said, you could do the corners. I'm going to not do the corners on this one because I've already turned it inside out. But you just slant them just like I did the rest of them. And I'm just sewing this bottom 5 inches. I'm just sewing that close. That's all I'm doing. Okay. I'm so bad. I'm grabbing the wrong scissors. Here I have some little nippers here and I just keep grabbing the wrong scissors. Okay. So now that you have this pulled through down here, you got that closed, you're just going to work with your tote and get it all opened up. Okay. And then what you're going to do, after you work with these corners and stuff and got everything opened up, all your corners is opened up, you're going to push this lining back through inside of your tote. But you got to get these other corners pulled out too. Okay? So I'm going to come back with the next video after I've worked with getting. You may want to open your zipper so you can get this all opened out. Okay. There we go. So, remember, that's just your lining and it's just down in there. So it's not going to matter if I didn't do those corners or not. Okay. So far, here's your tote. Okay, bottom. Okay. This is the bottom of your tote. The sides. Here's the top up here. And I'm going to poke this a little bit more, like I say, off of the camera. But you do have your zipper here. It will go to the other side. Okay. So you got your zipper in, you got your lining. Okay. And now we're going to do the straps. So I'll see you in the next video.